Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah.
Another episode of Trash Talk. I'm Damian Hill. With me, as always, is TJ O'Connor. Tonight we have Thomas Vievering, who's getting ready for a 145-pound title fight going down for Driller Promotions this Saturday night in Austin, Minnesota, March 7th. Now that I'm done stalling, I'm going to get right into the sponsors because I remember now. Trash Talk is brought to you again by Valhalla Combat Sports Incorporated, Spartan Martial Arts, Ink Strings Tattoo out in New Brighton, Minnesota, Origin Wellness CBD, The Fighters, TJ's Mom, and James Clark Sports Psychology and Hypnosis Therapy. How you doing tonight, Thomas? And not you, TJ.
Good. How about you guys?
Oh, I'm doing great. Yeah,
Bro.
can't complain. Really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. Especially, we're getting close to fight week here. Like Damian mentioned, you're going for the 145-pound amateur title this weekend. Couple opponent changes, and this has been a rocky road for you, even up until just a couple days ago. You thought the fight might have been lost. Can just for the fans, let them know who are you fighting? What's been your thought process going up to this? And obviously, it hasn't affected the way you're training, but what has it been like getting the calls? You're fighting, you're not fighting, you're not fighting.
I mean, honestly, it's just life. I take, like I've said before, it's all in God's timing. I can't really control, what happens and what doesn't. So I just take it as it goes. My opponent now will be Santana Acosta, and so it went from Nolan Phelan to Jordan or Cameron Jordan, and then it went to this now Santana Acosta, which I really do appreciate. To be honest, he allowed me to have a fight regardless. So I appreciate all my opponents, but thank you very much because now I have nobody wants to you have to get in a certain mode to be ready for your fights, and you get mentally set, and so it's just it was so weird knowing that oh wait, you might not be fighting this week, and then it was just well, what do I do now? It's just kind of a little weird, but it's going good. I'm fine. I don't care what opponent it is. I train for everything to happen in a fight. So
Yeah. Well, you said something that might throw a lot of, I guess, people who don't fight themselves off. When you said thank you to your opponent for taking the fight, most people don't understand that. It's like you're a fighter and you need somebody to fight to call yourself a fighter. And
exactly.
Yep, and he's given you the opportunity to perform, and same for you to him. And you guys have the opportunity to perform for a title.
Exactly.
So that's the stamp on it all. Was it? I mean, I guess changing from camp. I mean, from not camp to camp, from opponent to opponent. It's just been one of those things where have you just focused on I want to go fight this for this title, and if I'm the best around, I have to be ready to fight everybody that's around because champion's not supposed to choose their fights. You're supposed to fight number two. Is that one of those things that kind of played into your mind into this fight, or is that just how you always are?
To be honest, that's kind of how I always train. I just train to, be the best me as possible, and if it's me, taking one day of practice where it's oh, that dude out wrestled me, you're I have to get better at this, or oh, that dude was out jabbing me, or whatever. It doesn't matter. It just you have to get better at those things and those points. So really, to be honest, hey bud, oh, and we got somebody joining.
Hey, what's up?
No, we can't touch it. Oh wait, there's people in there. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's like I said, you train for the best, and everybody is going to be different. So it's just you have to, and you don't even know, even the person that you see in that video, and who knows if it was 6 months ago, how much they've gotten better at certain things, what they're going to come out, what their game plan is, could be different. So you just have to train, accordingly. For sure.
Yeah, and that's a mindset that comes with experience. Obviously, you've been doing this for some time now. You put together a nice streak, and just hate to backtrack, but coming off your last fight back in December, I mean, it was a war for the fans that were lucky enough to
Great
be
fight.
there. It was a great fight, back and forth. You were able to get your hand raised, which how much time did you take after that fight just to recover? And when did you get the call for this fight and a title opportunity? Get the notice.
Well, title fight basically like 2 days after my fight. So, he was already talking about it. And then he had to run it by Nolan Phelan and their team to see if they wanted to agree, and then they agreed on it. So that was good. My hand was like a little hurt after the last fight, but then turned out to be nothing. I always kind of lay back and work on something else. It's like you're just given an opportunity to work on something else that's not hurt. So that's how I usually take it. It's like, oh well, if I can't wrestle, I'm gonna work on striking. If I can't strike, I'm gonna work on wrestling.
Oh, that's
Sorry,
okay, buddy. No, but
it's like I want to take it.
yeah. When the fight was announced at first, it was announced against Nolan Phelan.
Yep.
Now it's not. Do you know what played into you not fighting him anymore right now? Do you know if he's injured or anything like that?
I'm assuming he got injured.
Yeah.
I wasn't told anything. They said that's what Jeremy says. Nolan's out. He's hurt, I think, and then the other guy, Cameron Jordan, was the second guy, and I signed the contract, sent that in. We had that set for like a week, and then they called me just like a couple days ago, and Jeremy was like, Cameron's out too, and I'm like, oh dang, it's just a part of it though. I wasn't like, oh my gosh, I can't
Yeah.
believe this happened. It's just like, no, I'm not surprised by anything anymore. I just allow God to take control and just, let him steer the ship, because there's no reason for me to try to control everything, because this world
Yeah.
is, it's crazy. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I like what you said, because TJ can attest to this, because it's played out a lot with just members on our team and everything. But certain fights don't necessarily play out because of whatever reasons, and because you don't have a reason right away, or if there is a reason, it doesn't make sense to you or whatever, and then everybody gets online or gets on to whatever and starts saying they're effing pussy, they're this, they're that,
Yeah.
like. Nolan is a dude that I definitely believe is not, and it's good to see that you're
Yeah.
not just
Oh,
one of those guys
definitely.
that just jump to the conclusion of them being a bitch. You know what I mean? Like, because
if they got fight, if they got numbers on their record, they're not scared. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's the way I look at it. If you're going out and fighting in front of people, you're not scared. And even if you are scared, you still have the guts to push and get out there. So it's like, I don't even assume any of that. If they pulled out because they got hurt, it's just because they got hurt. There's no reason for me.
Exactly.
Like, I need to go. I need the backstory. I need to
Yeah,
figure
it's
out.
like,
I
does
don't.
it
I
matter?
don't. I
It's
don't care. Just give me an opponent, please.
exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter at this point. Just know that there's two facts that you need to know. You still have a fight, but it's not him. There you go. It's
Yeah,
you
that's
don't need
it.
that. So many beefs were started because of small things like that, or even the fact
Oh,
like there's a guy on your radar who's about to fight somebody who's not even relevant to our team at all, and then something happens where the fight doesn't come out, and then we would say something about it, and then it's like, and then I ended up beefing with these guys all the way up until probably like some of them maybe even a month ago. And it's like, man, we're cool as shit. And I missed out on being friends with this guy for the last 8 years because I got mad.
it's just right, and that's how it is, and that's why I'm like, it is what it is. I try to, just treat all my opponents with respect, and like my last opponent, very very tough, Daniel.
Yeah.
That was a great fight. I really enjoyed being able to go out, put on a show, for the people, and I got some cage time in there, which was nice. It was definitely needed.
Yeah.
That felt good,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. You talk about the cage time. Your first performances. That's the thing we said is, how much of a fan-friendly fighter you are. And I think it goes back to just what you were saying earlier and just how relaxed and just, life happens, got to go with it, take what you can, because that's kind of your fighting style. I mean, like you said, I mean, whether there's nerves or anything, it doesn't get showed. I feel like once the bell rings, you just let it out, and it's just
Yep.
kind of like you're playing video game character with yourself, because it's pow, 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 head kick, punch,
Right.
punch, 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 takedown, shoot, 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 submission attempt. And that's what I love the most, is just your high volume pace. Have you played how do I want to word this? How have you worked your camp differently to go 5 rounds if needed at that pace?
I feel like the difference. I actually did switch. I'm not at Warriors Cove right now. I'm actually with Ben Locken over at the Cellar, and so I've been, but I still like a couple of nights head over and train with some of my partners at the Cove, but really not too much change. I mean, I feel like the more I've experienced the fight time and being out there in the cage, it's almost like you start to get less nervous. Where like you don't have to do as much cardio, where it's like, oh, I have to over cardio. No, it's more about breathing and and staying calm, and like you realize how much less energy you have to waste. And so like I feel like I'm starting to find that mojo a little bit. Like last fight, it was nice. Second and third round, I really felt that I was able to, to show that, where I was real to breathe and think smartly and not just come out and just keep throwing punches or keep going for things. Oh well, this punch landed in the first round, so I'm going to keep going for it. Or I wasn't trying to get desperate in a way. I was just trying to be calm, relax, and breathe. And that's once you focus on that, you realize, oh, I'm in this, and then you just start feeling. I really like that zone right there.
That's pretty amazing to hear you say that, because that's something that it took me a long ass time to
Yeah.
figure out. Granted, I've never lost a decision, and I'm proud of that, but I have gassed in a lot of fucking fights, even the ones that I've won. Like I started laying prey, and it's like I wasn't reserving my body enough and everything. And like now, like when I go into sparring and everything, because I'm not working on my cardio, I'm not doing anything extra besides like going in and just rolling and sparring and stuff.
Yep.
And I feel like, oh, I'm lasting like 6 rounds. Oh, that we just finished with 6 rounds, and it's like I don't even notice because I found a pace now, and it's like I know I know exactly what you're talking about when you're saying like I'm the guys that I'm sparring with, they're trying to come pretty hard aggressively and everything, but I know that I'm gonna gas myself out trying to fight them. So I do
Exactly.
it, and then it's like I just feel myself slowly taking over. Is I fuck, I can't remember how I was gonna turn that into a question. I was going to though.
Yeah. It was coming. It'll come back.
Damn it, maybe not.
Yeah, I'll have to just jump
It's
in and
gone.
make one up
It's
off,
gone.
just make one up off the top of my head at this point. So leading up to this fight, I mean, obviously there's an opponent change and all that, but one of the things that I really picked up on is obviously you're focusing on yourself. There's only one thing you can control, and that's what you bring to the cage. Without giving away any type of game plan or anything, what do you have to do on March 7th to make sure that you get your hand raised and that shiny belt put around your waist?
What do I have to do? One thing. Give it all to God, honestly. And you guys are gonna get a show. Everybody's gonna get a show. I'm gonna come out. I'm gonna have fun regardless. This is what I do. You know, I don't care if I win the belt or not. That's not my motive. I don't care for any of that. But it'll be a fun fight. I can promise that.
Oh, hell yeah. I guess when you're getting ready for a fight, you got to throw out all awards and everything, just focus on the fight itself. And dude, you're one of those guys that goes out there and performs every single time. And I'm so glad that you actually got the ring time in your last fight and got to, I mean, at at least from your perspective, knowing exactly how tough you are and exactly how skilled you are, just based off previous performances and that fight, dude. Like this is just pretty badass. You're definitely deserving of fighting for this title. Um, I guess before we wrap it up, do you have anybody you like to thank that's helped you get to this point in your career, and anybody outside the gym as well, and sponsors like that?
Yeah, so first person, obviously, my fiance. You know, she's my number one. She's here by my side always. You know, we're always working around schedules so that I can train and pursue this career, so I can, you know, sometime give my kids, you know, a good life where it's like, you know, like at least a house. I don't even care to be all super rich, but definitely my fiance and my two beautiful boys. But Antez too, Antez Howard, you know, he's one of my main sparring partners. His first fight is next weekend. So I don't know if you guys, you know, feel like doing interviews with him. He's got like 3 Muay Thai fights. And then yeah, so he's got his first fight next week and I'm super excited. He's a good striker, he's fun to watch, you know. But and thank God, man. We got a
Yeah.
fight. We all got a
Yeah.
fight, man. Thank you. Thank Lord. Because that's nice. You know, Jeremy went out and found another opponent, so I appreciate that as well. So, but thank
Yeah.
you guys. Thanks for having me.
No,
Oh man.
you for being on and being on once again, dude. You've been on since the fucking beginning. I'm glad that we've made the connection that we have and that you've been able to be on the show. And sorry, TJ, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I mean, I was just going to thank him, but what you said made me even think more. I mean, it's true. We've seen you. I mean, we've been a part of this title run. I mean, leading up to interviews, and I'm truly excited for you. Damien said it best. You are truly deserving to be in this spot on Saturday. I'm
Thank you.
excited to see how the fight plays out. Thank you again. We're nothing without the fighters. We say that all the time. It might be
No.
cheesy, but it's truthful. And for those watching the videos, like this video, subscribe to Trash Talk with Damien and TJ, and most importantly, never, ever, ever be a hoe.